We are all afraid of something. Even the brave ones have their own fears. Some people get goosebumps from monsters, while others are simply afraid of spiders. I'll tell you about my fear. On Friday evening, coming home from work tired, I immediately went to the shower, then watched a movie, taking tea and sandwiches with chocolate spread with me. I don't remember exactly what movie I watched, but that doesn't matter. Somewhere in the middle of the film, the lights went out in the house, and I was left sitting on the sofa under a warm blanket. After a while, the light turned on, and outside the window, I saw a strange silhouette of a man. What interested me most was his face. He was not there. I got a lump in my throat. I looked at him, dumbfounded. The second, but where is it on the 5th floor of a city house? My paralysis went away after someone rang the doorbell. I have never been so happy to have guests as I am now. I jumped out of my seat and in an instant rushed into the hallway. My hands were shaking. I was a little confused. The ringing did not stop. I went to the door and looked through the peephole. My neighbor was there. I opened, and the fear went away as if it had never existed. Just a strange, unpleasant feeling. "Hello, neighbor. Do you happen to have batteries?" he said hastily, as if he was in a hurry to get somewhere. Hello, they were somewhere. I'll take a look now, I said, and slowly walked into the living room. Stopping in the passage, I looked out the window where I had previously seen the silhouette, but there was nothing there except darkness. It seemed, I thought. I quickly walked up to the table on which the TV stood, opened the drawer, and immediately saw the thing I needed, a pack of batteries, took them and went into the hallway. To my surprise, my neighbor was not there. Strange, I thought. Approaching the door, I listened to see if there was any noise on the landing. Everything was quiet. Curiosity drew me to the site. Opening the door, I saw the man without a face. All I could remember at that moment was his head resting on the ceiling, unnaturally long arms, strange appendages resembling tentacles sticking out of his back. He was dressed in a black formal suit with a red tie. I froze again. I couldn't take my eyes off his faceless face. Heaviness. There was a feeling that I was falling somewhere, and suddenly, I woke up. I found myself in my bed. The silence in the room was undisturbed, and the clock on the table standing nearby glowed soothingly. I calmed myself down, lying in a warm bed. My pulse returned to normal, and my breathing became more regular. My usual morning sleepiness was gone. I hurried to get out of bed. A cool shower invigorated me, and hot tea relaxed me. Even though it was a dream, it impressed me greatly. The dream was so real, almost tangible. I sat at the table for a long time and thought, who is he? What did he need from me? And I also thought about his face. A faceless face. It was as if covered with very thick skin, but despite this, there was looks human, scary, and at the same time fascinating. I sat at this activity for quite a long time. My brain began to boil, and I looked at the clock. 14th, 20. I froze in surprise. It took me 4 hours to do this. The time flew by completely unnoticed. I would say 10 minutes passed, but you can't argue with time. Quickly getting up from the table, he began to get dressed to go to the grocery store. But when I was putting my sneakers on my feet, I noticed a strange note on the door. I came closer to look at it. The note was stained with blood. It was written on it, "Follow," and a drawing. In the drawing was him, that same person. I was overcome with fear. I was drawn to take this note. I resisted, but the desire was stronger. Having torn the note from the door, I peered at it for a long time. I had a great desire to throw it away, but I couldn't. Something from outside prevented me from doing this. I pinned the note on the wall, right next to my worker places. I looked at her again and again, but my grumbling stomach helped me wake up, supposedly saying, I should have a snack already. I went to my favorite store, which was very close to my house. As soon as I entered the store, I immediately noticed that it was empty due to the lack of visitors, which is why I liked it. No fuss, no queues. Calmly choosing everything I needed, I paid. Moving a little away from the store, I was overcome by the feeling that someone was looking at me, a rather unpleasant feeling. Imagine my surprise when I turned around. There was not a soul on the street. I arrived safely at my apartment. Having changed into home clothes, I prepared food and sat down at the table. Again, thoughts of the man without a face took over my mind. When I woke up, my food was already cold, but I was so hungry that I ate every last crumb. Thoughts about him still had not completely left my head. Sitting comfortably at the computer, I began to sort through the internet in search of any information about the man without a face. I found little on the internet, but still, I found out that this person is called Slender, which means stick man or thin man. He was nicknamed this because of his unusually long arms and legs. I also found out that he kidnaps people, but most often children, and no one knows what happens to them afterwards. Before the abduction, the children told their parents about strange dreams. After sitting a little longer at the computer searching for information, I achieved nothing more. I really wanted to sleep. I looked at the clock. It was very late. I turned off the computer, went to bed. Could not fall asleep for a long time, apparently from the impressions, but sleep took possession of me. The cold night had already come into its own. Fear gradually rolled in, forcing me to shake from every rustle, every crunching twig, every cry of birds. My hearing became extremely sensitive, increasing the volume of sounds. I slowly made my way through the thicket, stepping carefully on the damp forest floor, which muffled the sound of my steps. I stopped. With every cell of my body, I felt that something was approaching me. I was frozen with fear. A quiet rustling sound was heard behind me. Something grabbed my arm, and I felt an unbearable burning pain. Waking up in a cold sweat, I even screamed and grabbed my hand. Breathing heavily and quickly looking at it, there was a trace of a huge hand on it, as if burned out. I don't know what to do. I have these dreams every night, becoming more and more real. I am finishing this story knowing that he is right behind me.